I've been away, work-related reasons, and I've also got one of my grandparents is very ill at the moment, so I've been dealing with that. So Seb has been stuck here on his own.
I haven't seen you for about a week.
You haven't seen me for about like a whole week, but it's probably been a bit longer than that. And so I just thought I'd like to let everyone know we are on Spotify now. Seb's Parts on Spotify.
Yeah, we're on Spotify.
So all of our episodes are on there. So if you're traveling up and down the country, or if you're abroad, wherever you're listening, have a look. Go on there, give us a rating. How many, whatever you want to give us a rating at. We know we're poor.
You can listen to us chat and shit while you're driving to and from work.
Absolutely chatting rubbish. So Seb and I. And I just wanted to start off this week with, we got a headliner here. A bloody accident with a garden tool.
Very bloody accident in Thailand.
That's absolutely... So, Strimmer horror. Gardener bleeds to death after slicing off his genitals with a grass trimmer.
God damn, it sounds pretty rough as well. I mean, it wasn't even a little accident. This guy died as well from his injuries.
I mean, at first... I'm always going to say this. How long was his dick?
Well, do you reckon it was like hanging down?
But it's come to apparent reason of how this has happened.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't laugh about it because this is serious. This is a homeowner, the professional homeowner, who has gone to extreme lengths to cut in his garden, and he's got what looks like a blade from a lawnmower with the blade cut down. And he's also used what looks like a disc cutter disc, and it could be a abrasive. It looks like an abrasive wheel.
It does look it, yeah.
We can't tell if it's actually used for steel or stone.
It also looks pretty old as well.
It does look quite old, doesn't it? Washed from the image.
Yeah.
And it looks like what's happened is because of the higher RPMs from that Strimmer, because obviously those wheels are set to a certain RPM for a certain tool. It looks like it's just shattered.
Yeah, and probably come up.
The other bit that they don't have in the photo is probably still in him.
Probably, yeah. There's a shard missing.
You can even see by the bottom housing nut. If you can see this, seriously, you have to put this on.
I'll try and put a
photo to it because it is horrific. Like you could only imagine what's gone in.
Like there's nothing graphic in the image, but just from looking at the broken parts of the Strimmer, you can get a pretty good idea of how bad this was.
Some proper NCIS stuff here.
I mean, you can even see, like we said from the image, that the disc he's using, probably from some sort of like circular saw or whatever.
That's literally what it's designed for.
You can see from that itself, that looks old. I mean, that probably wasn't going to hold up in a regular saw anyway, let alone in a Strimmer. And you can tell from it's kind of hard to tell from the image, but you can see the Strimmer, and it doesn't look like he had a guard on it or anything, because I assume the guard wouldn't fit.
He wouldn't have the guard on that, because the wheel wouldn't go around.
That's what I mean.
And even with that blade,
so
that's horrific. And you can see the nut, the bottom nut, is still on the bottom of the Strimmer housing. So he wasn't a lucky man. No. Wasn't a lucky escape either. I mean, you imagine having your children out in the garden whilst you're doing that as well. You know,
there's a photo of them picking him up in a body bag, taking him away.
Looks like paramedics have got him on a spinal board. And
looks like it, yeah. You can see the blood in the grass and everything.
Oh yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I thought it was like compost, but no,
that's proper red.
That's bad. So the man was 39 years old, and he was found in a park in Thailand. So he looks like a worker.
I assume he was probably doing some sort of council work. I don't even know if this was in his...
It's not a professional homeowner. This is a professional.
No, I thought this was DIY job at home, but he looks like a professional who was sorting out like a forestry park.
Yeah, look, it says here from the Thai cops that the guy was hired by the forest park's owner to clear the grassy areas. Now, I do this as a company.
You do.
I wouldn't recommend using anything but the stuff you are supplied with that machine. They give you certain blades. Yes, you can buy stuff on Amazon. I wouldn't recommend buying the stuff off of Amazon. One is it's not come with that machine, and everything has a certain grade to what it's made to.
So you're talking like third-party parts.
Yeah, third-party parts. You can. I wouldn't say you can't, but look at the safety implications. Look at the reviews.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk, really.
And let someone else use it first. Like what I mean by that is, go on YouTube, see some proper reviews. See Wranglestar if he's got it on there. He's quite a good one for stuff like that. See if there's like a forestry company that's been using it. But I wouldn't recommend using abrasive wheels or a lawnmower blade.
No, I mean, I don't do this. I mean, Tom does literally this for a living. He's a tree surgeon, and I mean, I don't. I mean, I do a bit of stuff around the house, but even I probably wouldn't risk that. I mean,
we can see the safety implications straight away because he's using
Yeah.
a abrasive wheel, which straight away they're designed for a certain RPM on a certain grinder.
Yeah.
And he's used by what looks like a 12-inch disc or a 9-inch disc one as well. So first off, you're thinking about your feet.
Oh yeah.
You got to think about your feet. There's a reason there's a guard there. It's thinking about your feet because obviously these things can come back. They jump
Yeah, of
back.
course they do.
And if you're not wearing the right shoe wear, you're not wearing stills or any protective footwear or chainsaw boots, it's going to shred your toes off. So he's taking the guard off. That would have maybe saved some damage.
I mean, maybe
The wheel could have shattered and gone elsewhere.
Yeah.
The guard would have prevented that, even though the guards are only made of plastic. But the guard would have deflected the debris
better
somewhere
than
else.
plastic get torn up. And
I mean, he's got like a blade. It looks like a machete blade, doesn't it?
I think the thing is as well, it's like it's not even just the disc that looks old. Like all of his equipment looks old. Like it's seen some years.
I've seen some hours, yeah.
Like the Strimmer itself, the disc, the lawnmower blade that he's obviously like tried to
Modify.
go a little.
I mean,
bit
you can see
modern
the
on it.
use on it though. It's got wear from where it would have been on the nut and everything.
And this
from the
doesn't
housing.
look like this was the first time he tried this. I mean, I think he's been doing this quite a few times, and unfortunately, this was the day it all fell apart.
But I am going to express this: if a certain tool fails on that machine, go and buy another one. Have spares. Do not go and look around the garage or look in your truck and think, "Hey, and I've got this. I could use this."
Oh yeah, no.
Zip ties, fine. Yes, if you're really in the shit hit at the moment and you haven't got anything, but you've got big 9-inch zip ties, yeah, fine. Put them onto the housing, put them onto the bottom of the Strimmer, zip tie them in. They're fine. They won't last,
No,
but they'll get
no,
you.
no.
They'll get you somewhere.
Yeah,
Slower RPM, you'll be able to cut back. But we've even got attachments for ours. We've got saws that can go on them. We've got chainsaws that go on the bottom of them.
Oh, well, like proper attachments.
Proper attachments that
Not
fit
like
to
a
them.
retro.
No, they're made from Husqvarna steel, Obey. No, sorry, not Obey. Obey, that's a bloody
I don't even know what
clothing
that
company. That
is.
is.
I'll just take your word for it.
But there's all those, manufacturers out there. You got Echo, everything. Go to a proper farming shop, proper machinery shop. Go and get it off the shelf.
Yeah.
Because unless at the end of the day you can sue that company,
Yeah.
that manufacturer. He can't sue
He's
no
not
one.
suing anyone. He's retrofitted this thing beyond belief,
And
really.
he's 39 years old, so if he's got family and everything like that,
That's quite sad.
he's lost his life to earning cash and the job, legs soaked in blood. It's quite horrific. It's not something. And a 79-year-old man found him in the park. So
I think the fact that he bled to death as well means that, well, as you can imagine, it obviously wasn't a quick death. He probably had at least a few minutes of
he suffered
suffering, realising what he'd done. But then there's nothing he can do because he was just on his own.
So top tip:
don't retrofit circular saw blades to a Strimmer.
Wear a guard.
Or wear a guard. Or both.
Or both. Are we live?
We're live.
We're live.
On 3. Oh, on the 3, 2, 1. I started on 1. In the 3, 2.
Back to school for you. Right. One of our top men, our Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, has said...
You're a big fan, aren't you?
Big fan, yeah. Rishi, not voted in. He's got admiration. I'll give him his due. He's got plans. Big plans for the NHS.
It's got some ideas.
So if you're a follower and you're with the NHS and you work with the NHS, I'd love to hear about this. It's all been on the news all week. So Rishi Sunak has got plans for 15 years of the NHS to get more NHS staff and to retain more staff. So if you haven't heard, that means he's going to do an apprenticeship scheme where he's got young doctors coming in and they're going to hopefully relieve the pressure of the NHS. Is it a good idea?
I mean, it's an idea. I don't really see anything wrong with it other than the fact that there's an issue right now.
Yes.
And although this is maybe a good plan, maybe not, it doesn't really solve any of the issues going on right now with the NHS.
No.
This is a...
You're going to have to train these people up.
This is a real long-haul 15-year plan. I mean, I'm going to be 45 by the time this thing comes to an end.
Exactly. So that's the factor of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Is it a now? Is this going to solve now? And I think it's a lot of its pay.
I suppose it's worth remembering as well that by the time this thing even gets 20% into the way of making progress. He's probably not even going to be anywhere in power whatsoever.
No. He will
He'll
probably be
long
moved
gone.
along by then.
And you know what happens all the time. He'll move on and the next person scrap his plans.
They'll squash it. Exactly. This is what happens. And I'll go with you on that. Will he be around to see the testimonial time of it? Will he? No, he won't, because you can't stay in that longer term.
No, that's the problem with trying to make plans that are so far in the future. By the time they actually come to fruition, you've been gone for 10 years, or the next person that's coming has just scrapped it immediately.
I mean, it says it there. The plan to recruit 300,000 more NHS staff. Where are they? They're abroad.
Yeah.
They're all being paid better money to be abroad instead of working for the NHS.
Yeah.
You get trained in the NHS. Fantastic. It looks great on your resume. Everyone thinks that one of the most leading health organisations in the world, the NHS, it's a major factor. A lot of Americans are jealous because of what we have.
Yeah.
A lot of other countries are jealous because of what we have, the NHS. But if they actually saw the struggle and the peer pressure that the NHS is under, I don't like the NHS.
In what way?
I'll be honest. I don't like how it works. I like the people that work for it.
Do you like the idea of it?
The idea is perfect.
Yeah.
A free healthcare.
Yeah.
Yes, that anyone should be able to walk in and get free healthcare. But it doesn't work. There's somewhere along the way that something in the middle, when you go to A&E, and from there something doesn't add up. There is money going somewhere else that doesn't go into dealing with the facilities, dealing with the staff, and then dealing with the patient.
Did you know what's weird as well? I mean, I've not been to A&E that many times in my life, but the few times I've been there, you're looking at a 6-7 hour wait time. There are guys there with holding their fingers in Tupperware with ice, waiting to be seen, and they've been there for 3 hours.
That's it. Well, they had someone on the news this morning on LBC, and she was talking, and she's been a surgeon or doctor since 2013. She was saying, and she was saying, there was a guy that had a hole in his bladder, and he basically died in the waiting room.
Oh, I've heard about people
that's horrific, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? And like you just said, what's going to do it now? Today, if they bring that in, does that effectively start immediately?
Of course not. It's probably not.
Or are you looking at 3 months, 6 months?
It's probably not going to start until at least next year.
Probably, yeah, exactly.
By the time it even starts, Rishi Sunak could be out the door. He's never going to even see it start, let alone finish.
He'll be in the members of parliament, won't he? He'll still be there.
I mean, then do you know what kind of makes me laugh as well? Like I was saying, you go to A&E and you wait 6-7 hours to be seen for, whether you've fractured your finger or you've lost a leg. You're waiting hours, but every time I seem to go past a hospital at the moment, they're having major renovation works.
So you've got the Southampton General as being continuous, hasn't it?
I mean, to be fair, they've been doing renovations at Southampton General for the last 10 years.
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
but still, you go to A&E and there's not enough people to see you.
No,
it's wait, what?
And the thing is, you'll be waiting 6 to 7 hours, recruiting these junior doctors. They're not allowed to check you over and sign you out. They can't. They have to then go to a senior doctor to then have. Well, they have to basically go with them, follow them around, and do everything. Yeah. So,
and then there'll be one senior doctor.
Yes, one senior doctor. But in 5 years, that how many you've recruited, 1,000, if they're still here, will then be that senior doctor. So yes, I see the plan of where it's going, but this should have been started 10 years ago.
I think it's a good plan from what I can see. I don't know all the details, but as far as I can see, it's a good plan. But it doesn't.
It's a bit too late.
It doesn't solve any of the issues we've got right now.
No.
And also, are these even going to be? We're going to have these issues in the next 15 years.
Well, the thing is, it's even if they stay, these 300,000 that are going to be trained up, they will pay a bit towards it, and the NHS will pay more, because I think it's something like £315,000 it costs to train a doctor.
Wow, really?
In this country, yeah, and obviously you pay half, 45.
Yeah, that's not actually as much as I thought.
It's not as much as you think.
That's actually cheaper than I expected.
It's cheaper than
it sounds like a lot of money.
It sounds like a lot of money.
I thought it'd be more.
But we're not allowed to physically retain that staff. We're not allowed to say, with lorry companies, with people, you got to stay 5 years.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to.
What if they change you up?
Yeah, because the laws and everything are there to prevent that, because they've paid towards it.
Yeah.
So who even says, after 5 years, once they've got their qualifications, their training, their degree, everything, that they're not going to be poached from Canada, Australia, Germany,
or even that, or just go private.
Or go private. Exactly.
I mean, to be fair, if I was a qualified doctor, I realise that a lot of doctors probably don't do it for the money. However, if you're a doctor, you're working your ass off, and you realise that you can go to the hospital across the road and they'll pay you 3x the salary.
Half the time it's in the same hospital as well.
Yeah, sometimes it is.
Yeah, you can get treatment in a private hospital in the same hospital.
Yeah, you literally can.
Incredible.
So it doesn't really make a lot of sense of how these people are going to be retained.
No, and that's that's why I want to speak about it, because it's a great subject to touch on. The NHS. The NHS is crumbling. Like most things in this country.
The NHS is always crumbling.
Yeah,
it's been crumbling since I can remember.
Since I was born, I think. Yeah. It is. It's one of our biggest, strongest value we have in this country, that you don't even have to have a citizenship and you can be treated.
You just go to the hospital and get sorted out.
You won't be tossed out on the curb and then asked for your insurance. I mean,
you've seen the videos probably of people in America. They're about to be stretched into an ambulance and they get up like, no, I can't afford it.
Because the ambulance costs a couple of grand before you even get the hospital.
Because they know by the time they get the hospital, they're already going to be in debt.
Exactly. And this is it, unless you've got really good insurance out there.
Well, yeah. And
half the time you see in these programs, your insurance doesn't cover this. It's like, what? What does my insurance cover?
Literally nothing.
Boo-boos. You could go to the NHS. You could walk into an A&E centre with a crooked eyebrow, fractured fingernail, and you would be treated.
They bandage you up and sort you out.
You will be waiting 6 hours with a guy next to you who's just had his arm cut off in a chainsaw accident.
Yeah.
This is how the NHS has got. We don't prioritise, and at the end of the day, I've seen it as well. Kids waiting, children, children and the elderly. Children and the elderly are waiting a lot longer than they need to be. Children's a big thing, because obviously children don't understand.
No, they don't. They don't know why they've got to sit there for 6 hours.
Exactly.
I mean, if anyone's ever tried to make a kid sit down for, especially a young child like a 3-4-year-old.
Exactly.
They're not sitting there for 6 hours.
And then when they're ill, they're ill. They don't understand and everything. So and then even the elderly. Us quite fighting fit middle-aged people, we probably won't see the A&E probably for 20 years. You probably won't need to go in there as often as you think. You might end up with an infection, maybe a tetanus, maybe you're still on nail. But most people that I know haven't been into a hospital for like 10 years, and it's going on like that. Unless you've got elderly parents and elderly grandparents that you're looking after, you're going to go in hospital more often, and you're starting to see it. At the moment, I'm in there with a family member who's in hospital, and the food's got a lot better.
Does it?
The staff is absolutely fantastic there, and I'll give them like, thank you very much for looking after Grandad. But I can see that they haven't got the stuff that they need to do things.
No.
And the equipment, and you see it on the news. You see, we're really struggling. And Rishi Sunak went the other day. He went to A&E, I believe, and it was on the late shift. I don't know what a late shift is to him, because that's what he said, late shift. I mean, I imagine that was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He needs to be in on a Friday night at 10, way past 9 o'clock at night to see what they are up against.
Yeah, no,
the drunks, the drugs, everything.
It's proper bad. I mean, my sister works for the NHS. She's worked in a few hospitals, and now she does like community care, because she literally the hospital was just doing her head, and like it was driving her crazy, like the hours and the conditions and all that sort of stuff, and the people. The sort of people you've got to deal with. It's not their fault because they're not very well, but it's hard, Well,
you're dealing with everyone, aren't you?
I mean,
everyone in life.
She's actually saying that literally, sometimes every shift there'd be some older guy in there who's maybe senile, dementia, whatever, trying to, feel up all the nurses, like throwing things at them, shouting at them. Like,
you got people who don't want to be there, and threatening the staff, leave me the hell alone, and stuff like that.
And the staff get paid like shit as well.
So. Yeah, that's it. And that's what I want to touch on as well, is the pay. That there hasn't discussed about pay in this plan at all. So, as you can tell, during the week, junior doctors were on strike in London.
Oh, they love it, don't they?
They were on strike, and fair play to them. But at the end of the day, your pay. I mean, a lot of it's not about pay with the junior doctors. It's mainly about the conditions, working conditions. And the NHS is always throwing around the same word. We are a family, blah, blah, blah. We all know companies that say we're a family. You're chatting BS. Yeah. We know it is.
It's not a family.
You don't care. You are, these top bosses that are taking major dividends a year.
It's a numbers game at the end of the day.
It is a numbers game.
It comes down to money. Like, it's not a family. Like,
no.
I'd be quite happy working somewhere if they went out of their way to say this isn't a family, this is a business. Because everyone knows it is.
Yes. You wouldn't go there otherwise, would you?
Don't make up some bullshit saying, we're a family, we care about every employee.
You don't go 30 days a month for you to then get told a hug and a kiss, do you?
Exactly.
And fed in food. You go for money. Everyone's money at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, it's like, you go for a new job and they say, oh, why do you want to work here? Well, because I need a fucking job. I need some money. Like, I don't want to join you.
They don't want to hear that. They want to hear, I'm going to change NHS. Yeah. I'm going to change the way, beds are made and all that. I don't know, something crap like that. Pay's the biggest factor. So, a lot of companies I'm seeing at the moment aren't showing pay in their websites. Pack it in. You're not incenting someone to come join you. People need to see the green, or in this country,
but that's why people have jobs. I mean, sometimes you get the benefit like me where you have a job that you do actually enjoy doing at the same time.
Yeah.
But most people have jobs because they need money.
They need money, and they're not even in that. Some people working in insurance, and I
wouldn't be working,
call centres
Monday to Friday as many hours as I do if I didn't need money.
I meet the public. You don't meet the public in a call centre, though, do you? You talk with them. It's true. Like, a lot of us go to work to earn. We don't go to it for the benefits. No. That's why millionaires don't go to work, because they're millionaires. Like billionaires, the same again. Yeah, no, some millionaires do go to work. Before I touch on some fucking subject there, someone say, "Oh, I go to work."
There's some rich boy out there.
But someone out there who's driving around in his hot bloody state of the line Lamborghini or McLaren. You don't need to go to work. He understands. But that's all walks of life. Whether you're rich, poor, ill or healthy, the NHS is there for you.
Yeah.
You can walk in and get treatment. Let's just touch on even getting you to the hospital. Ambulances. The ambulances are old. Yeah. The equipment is out of date on them.
Oh, yeah.
And they haven't got enough paramedics.
No, they haven't got enough paramedics. And also, the thing that a lot of people don't understand is getting the people from the ambulance into the hospital. Like, that takes so long. Like,
that's a process.
Like, last year, my mum had to go into the hospital. The ambulance came and picked her up. My mum was in the ambulance with the paramedics waiting in the car park for about 3 hours. Just parked. And then honestly, those paramedics couldn't then go and help anyone else.
They can't go to another job. Yeah.
So, like, they were literally sat in the car park in the queue for 3 hours waiting to go into the hospital.
It's the queue. It's the knock-on effect it has.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't help anyone else.
Knock-on effect. So you think about how many people have probably died in that 3 hours because they can't get, or they've had to get a doctor on scene.
Because they couldn't just get my mum from the ambulance into the hospital, because the hospital were like, we can't take her in at the moment. And it's like, but then the paramedics can't help anyone.
They can't help nobody.
And then you wonder why ambulances take so long to get there.
And then I imagine they're over their shift. So they got to get another shift that are on, and they've got no ambulance.
Yeah, it's such a
they've got no equipment. So the knock-on effect. And then don't even get me started on the air ambulance. Why the air ambulance is charity funded?
Yeah, that's fucked, isn't it?
That's wrong. That's where it's wrong, because how come the police helicopter isn't funded by charity, but the police can afford it? So come on, the NHS needs to. They need to. I know it's a good thing they don't run it, because they would get rid of them, because they wouldn't be able to afford them. They'd scrap them. But it's a fantastic bit of equipment, and it's got some fantastic people that they use them, and they get you to site, and they are always there, and they may not always be needed. But they will land and touch down and wait in a safe area for you, whether you need them or not. Yeah. Why is that not funded by the NHS? Yeah. Why isn't the government saying, we need more air ambulances, we need more ambulances, we need more, I don't know, paramedics, more this, more that, bigger hospitals? And you've got to think as well, I don't see many new hospitals going up.
You don't see many new hospitals. No, you just see a lot of work going on in the current ones.
In the current ones.
And it's like, where's all that money coming from?
They haven't got the land for it either.
But you know what I mean? It's like, where's all the money coming from to be renovating the hospital for the last 10 years in a row?
But why can't they go into the staff?
That's what I mean. But you've still got to wait, 3 days in A&E because you lost an arm.
Exactly. Like,
what's going on there?
It's just everything. So the 15-year plan sounds brilliant, fishy. But at the same time, mate, what's the plan for today and tomorrow? And when's it going to start? Because this is just a plan that he's come up with.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't seem to have taken effect. I mean, this was posted on the 30th of June. Was that literally yesterday? Literally yesterday.
So it's been in discussion for a while now. But I'd like to know. I'd like to see a timetable on it. I'd like to see where it's going to help the current staff where we are. Because junior doctors are great, but you need other things, cleaners. Everything from the bottom. You need everything, even porters and everything. We need it. I think the whole NHS staff needs helping, not just junior doctors. I mean, if you've seen Good Doctor or Chicago Med, you know what a junior doctor does. They literally do the scat work. They go around and check, do all the crap work.
Yeah.
Go and check. But they have to do it with a senior member of staff for them to then diagnose them and sign them off. So, yes, it's a good idea, but we're looking at 5 years ahead when it's going to be great.
Yeah.
We need more apprenticeships. We need more apprenticeships in this country. We need more apprenticeships, obviously, for the NHS. We need to get more people in. And I know it's going to take its time. But Rishi, what's happened now? You're going to throw a couple of billion in there today, sort it all out? Because if you did, it's only going to get whitewashed into someone's pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's too much more to say on this, but we would like to, if anyone's got any good ideas, what's happening today? What's going to happen today and tomorrow, not, 10 years later?
Or if you are a doctor, is it a good idea or is it not?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it aspartame?
What,
Sugar?
The Diet Coke thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I wrote that down to talk about, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It's have you heard what's actually come out about it as well?
It's done through rats.
Well, they're talking about it, being cancerous and shit.
Yeah.
And when I actually looked into it the other day, apparently it's technically carcinogenic, but on the same level as like aloe vera.
It's by doses.
It's not really.
It's how often you use it, eat it, take it.
Like it's not like every time you drink a can of Diet Coke, you're inhaling exhaust fumes. Do you know what I mean?
You're getting cancer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's nowhere near. Like
no, it's not. It's been brought up, hasn't it? And it was 100 doses to a rat's eye.
Something like that.
So think about you being a rat and thinking about you might get a cancer in the eye. So.
But at the same time, it's not as if there's like a full like.
It's not a full can of it.
No, and that's what I mean. It's not like each can is like a full
It's
dose.
diluted.
Yeah.
So don't panic.
Yeah.
Don't panic out there.
Like fucking Diet Coke, Coke Zero, whatever.
And you're throwing it out and tipping it down the drain and your Bud Light fucking getting rid of it.
Stop it.
Stop, because it's done by doses. So don't panic.
You're not going to die drinking
No.
Coke.
But I would say go on the sugared stuff. Let's try and get rid of that free sugar shit in this world, because it's not doing anyone any good, is it really? Come on.
I mean, I don't know. I assume it's better than all the sugary stuff, right?
Well, no, I like sugar.
So do I.
I'm a skinny bloke. If I go on to all like sugar-free shit, I'd disappear, mate.
You'd vanish into thin air.
I'd vanish into free
Look
air.
at you from the side. We've got to see you.
Exactly. Right, back to it. So we've got OceanGate.
OceanGate.
Everyone remembers about the little submersible that went down to see the Titanic.
Yeah.
Sad news. Yes, I'm going to get it out there before everyone says, "Oh, you're not playing sympathy card." Yeah, sad news. People died. Big whoop.
They did die,
It's a challenge. Why did you do it? Because you're billionaires.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. There were human remains found, and shattered Titanic submersible returned to shore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've looked into much about how the actual implosion of this thing would have happened.
I reckon it happened within the first hour.
When I was looking into it, I mean, within the first hour it imploded. But I've watched a few sort of like CGI reconstructions and people talking about what would have actually happened. And from what I've been able to gather, it would have imploded so quickly and the pressure would have killed these people so quick they wouldn't have even known
it'd been instantaneoly.
But apparently it takes a certain amount of milliseconds for like a picture from your eye to go to your brain. I can't remember the exact number.
But it'd be quicker than that.
But it was quicker than that. So you wouldn't even see it happening. It would happen and you'd be dead. And also apparently, because of how much pressure would have built up, it would cause a lot of heat as well. So these people would have basically been crushed and cooked.
Brilliant.
And if you've ever squeezed a tube of toothpaste, that's what it would have looked like coming out of the sub as it got crushed.
Pink mist.
Literally. Pink mist.
Cooked pink mist.
Cooked pink mist.
Cooked mincemeat.
Essentially, yeah.
Shut up if you say we're being a bit insensitive. I'm not being funny. And the only person I feel sorry for is the young lad. He went because it was Father's Day. He felt he was obligated.
That is quite sad.
There is certain equipment that would have told you at what pressures you're at, like submarines have. This didn't obviously have it.
I don't think anyone's classing this thing as a submarine.
No, but it's true.
This is literally like chucking a can of Coke in a lake.
You have gauges when you go scuba diving.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
You can tell by pressures and everything. I mean, even if they had made it to the bottom, I mean, everyone just assumed they've made it to the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, it went on for days, didn't it? Days and days. And it's horrific to hear what's happened, but there's a reason that it doesn't happen so often, is because it's not something that's done so often.
No, I mean, if you've if anyone's done much research into this, I assume people have seen bits pop up on TikTok and YouTube and this sort of stuff. But like, if you ever watch the interview or sort of like the documentary sort of video of the
him
guy
explaining it,
explaining how it's made, I mean, the Logitech game controller was, obviously a bit of a red flag. But this guy was taking parts off washing machines.
But we do say that's a red flag. Now, let's remember, they are using, since 2010, in Afghanistan, Reaper drones that used Xbox 360 controllers.
I mean, yeah.
So, the controller part aspect, okay.
Yeah.
We can use it as a controller, yes.
Yeah.
The jokes aside, it run out of battery. But, fair enough. Yes, okay, we've seen it with most things. They use them on EOD equipment for drones and robots,
Yeah, that kind of, it kind of, to be fair, the controller thing, in a way, kind of makes sense.
Wasn't a problem, I don't think.
I don't think it was that bad.
The single button, though, he pushed to turn it on.
I think the...
turn the washing machine on.
Yeah, is it... Well, like you say, he was originally going to... I can't remember if he did or he was planning to. But he was going to take the glass door from a washing machine and use that as the window.
That probably was that mission.
I mean, this guy was taking parts from... I mean, this was a proper, like, MacGyver job.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Off the bat, this is some Homer Simpson shit when he builds his own car.
Yeah, literally. Like, this wasn't a tried and tested, like, submersible mechanic putting this thing together.
Things like this, though, I know it's only a submersible and they use them for certain exploration, environments and everything, like when they look at coral and stuff like that. But, that's looking at wonders of life. We were going to something, there was a tragic event that happened... over 70 years ago, I think now. I can't even remember. It's got to be over 70. Yeah, before, it's got to be 100 years. Oh, God knows. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we're looking at something that happened a long, long time ago. They've got videos from being down there, from using robots. To put life down there, I accept the challenge. There's people going into space. Got Sir Richard Branson, who's doing the... Virgin Galactic.
Virgin Galactic, yeah.
We've got Elon Musk, who's doing SpaceX. We've also got NASA. So let's not think of the impossible. Let's think of the possible at this point in this conversation. Let's think about, is it possible? Can we go down there?
I think the saddest part about this story is that this is, from what I can tell, entirely possible.
Yeah, of course
it's just the way it was gone about.
How it was done. Exactly.
That's like me trying to race in F1 with a car made in the garage. Do you know what I mean?
Will it hold to it?
Exactly.
We've all seen it. We've all got projects. We've all done things. I mean, even going back a couple of videos talking about Matey Boy with the Strimmer. It was a plan and it was a project at the moment in time. Yeah, someone has died from it. This is another reason. We can do these things as humans because the challenge is there. There's a lot of humans out there might go, actually, no, I don't want to do that. There's people out there want to go, I want to go to Everest. I want to go I want to go walk all of the sand dunes and everything of like Saudi Arabia or whatever and have no water on me, do backpacking. There are people that do marathons for like days. The challenge is there to anyone. And someone wanted to go down there and they had billions and they paid £250,000 each for a ticket. So someone's made some good money. And the CEO went down there with them.
What do you reckon's happening to that money?
Well, I would have thought that they would all be entitled to a refund.
At least their families would be.
The families would be entitled to a refund, I would have thought. But at the same time, they signed a waiver that means that they're not suable.
Well, they must have signed some sort of like tragic event waiver.
There was some major paperwork that was done. So at the same time, these companies that are doing these things, they know what they're doing because if they're getting you to sign a waiver, then there's the possibility of death. You should be thinking, oh, hang on, could I die doing this? Do I have to think about it? And then, but why no one questioned? Like, has this thing been pressurized? Has it been checked, tested, and everything? It's been homemade. The only things that were still intact were either ends, weren't it?
Yes, I
believe it imploded like you would crush a Coke can.
Yeah, essentially.
And these two ends of the only thing that have been able to like pull out that are still titanium ends, aren't they? Made of titanium. Wow. I mean, but major news effort that was when they had the boats, US Coast Guard. I mean, US Coast Guard, they pounded noises, didn't they, and sounds. I reckon they were dead within the first hour.
Yeah. I mean, by the time this even hit the news properly, I think they were all dead at that point. I mean, Which is sad, because then in one way...
Can't have a laugh about it, because you know, you think that time...
I think we laugh about it because it's not so much that it's funny, it's because it's so stupid.
Yes.
Like
it's the stupidity
how
of it,
ridiculous this entire thing is. Like, it didn't need to happen.
I tell you what, I couldn't do the news. I wouldn't be able to do the news. I'd be laughing. It is just the stupidity of it. That's what gets me. Is that what the fuck were you doing? I mean, has anyone ever like tried to hold like a glass full of air underwater and then let go?
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking rockets out. You know, come on, physics. You know, there's just simple physics. Like we got. I think there's a certain percentage in it of the oceans haven't been conquered. We don't know what's down there.
There's a lot of it.
We've got dark depths of the ocean. We haven't been down there. Human life can't go down there.
It's like the Marianas Trench. It's the deepest part of the ocean.
And we can't go down there because we can't sustain the pressure. However, we've got equipment, like submarines, that could do it. It's just getting them in there. But that equipment, that had like, submarines have like pressure gauges on it, oxygen. They can tell everything, you know, about that ship, about that vessel going in that water. And that little thing had a button and a fucking gaming controller.
Yeah.
You know, so before we even like get right into it, I mean, they were sealed from the outside.
Yeah.
They were bolted the outside in.
There must have been a moment when they were getting bolted in, where at least a few of them were like, "Wait a minute."
That's some proper Fallout 4 stuff, isn't it? Getting locked in the carbon freeze. You know what I'm saying? Like,
locked
this is
what's
going on here. Like, I would have been questioning, like looking inside it, thinking, so how do you know, where's the gauges? How do you know what you got?
Have you seen photos of this thing as well? It's not even that big in size.
No, it's tiny.
It's pretty small. It was like the size of a biggish car, I guess.
And the coffee table would go in that. The dining table.
Probably not.
That's what I'm saying. And they didn't have seats.
No,
nothing. No belts. No nothing. So, you know, like, this is even if they reckon they were down there, use Royal Navy experts. Ex-Royal Navy experts who are commanders of NATO and everything, who reckon even if they were at the bottom, it would have been an uncomfortable ride because they'd have been shook about by current and everything. So they would have been jammed inside even if they had survived it. Because they'd have been beaten up and bruised.
I'm honestly amazed that there were no sort of professionals, like professional people that were like you shouldn't do this.
Overseeing it.
Like, that's what I mean. Trying to say like, no, don't do it.
We couldn't start up our own space expedition out in the back garden.
Well, no, exactly.
Someone would come to us immediately and go, look, we know what you're doing.
You need to stop.
Because one, it looked like an ICBM at first. But now you're going to space. Stop there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason that we leave this to professionals.
Like, how many professionals do you think were ignored?
There was loads, wasn't there? They had people saying that the thing was unsafe and everything like that. It shouldn't have been used.
Like, it's amazing that it was ever allowed to... Like, there must have been some... I don't know, governmental body or whatever that could have.
Well, apparently there's not. Apparently there is no regulator to stuff like this. I mean, obviously you could. There's no harm in you building something and doing it yourself with it, as long as you don't do it on public land and all that. You know, so in the back garden, you and I could make a golf cart and go running around in the back garden on it until one of us ends up dead.
Yeah.
But if we were taking money and putting customers on it, that's where the regulator will then step in. So this is when it should have had the point of, right, you're having customers, we want to check the vessels, we want to go over everything, you know. And the insurance that these companies hold up to, I can tell you now that OceanGate are probably going to get major findings and
I would imagine so.
Someone's going to walk in there now and go, oh, this is a field day.
I mean, let's face it, they're not going to be doing a second expedition, are they?
Not OceanGate.
No.
It'll be called Seagate next week.
Something like that.
That's like hard drives.
Seagate, yeah.
Can't use that one.
No, you don't want to use that.
Bluegate. You have to cover the name.
Bluegate.
So boycott them. So boycott them. Don't use them. I mean, even Ryanair could have probably accomplished a better journey.
With a plane.
Yeah.
Just taking the wings off and it would have done a better job.
Fucking hell, pun intended there. What was that aircraft that went down the ocean years ago?
Oh, the M7
never find
something.
It. You can never find it.
Yeah.
And they're probably all right down there because it was able to take the pressure rise from the cabin. You know, this is it. This is the whole big deal about it. Why? What we're taking away from it? Why one wasn't checked on?
Yeah.
2, why was it even allowed? And 3, someone paid. So, like, if I was a billionaire, I'd be like, can you come with me and tell me if this is safe?
Yeah, I mean, even if I wasn't a billionaire, even if I was just, paying...
General Joe.
If I had a fair bit of money and I was paying 250 grand to go in this thing, I'd be hiring a professional, some kind of, I don't know, submersible, like, submarine mechanic, something,
Yeah.
to come and have a look at it and tell me if I'm going to die.
Some sea engineer who knows
Exactly,
what he's
someone
doing.
who knows what they're talking about. Someone who's worked on a submarine before, just to say, is that thing safe?
We've got welders that go down there daily, go down
Yeah.
the ocean. They do all of the natural gas lines and everything. They're always down there welding, fixing pipe and everything like that. Those have to stay in pressurised cabins until they can come back up.
Yeah, they do.
So if that can happen and they're regulated, what's going on here then? Like, how was that ever? And was it deployed from a bigger boat?
I'm not actually sure, to be honest.
I'd like to know if it was deployed from. It looks like from the photos it was deployed from a bigger boat.
I think it was, but I'm not entirely sure.
Where the fuck did the big boat go?
Well,
did they just piss off?
I did hear that apparently once they left the sub, I think the boat just left.
But why? You stay up the top, wouldn't you? Surely,
almost as if they knew it wasn't coming back.
Because and it's like as it goes down, you'd have heard it go like straight back up again. Then you'd have gone, oh shit, reverse, But why wasn't that there? Like in every film you see, like even Jaws, everything, the boat stayed at the top.
Yeah,
it always stayed at the top. So what?
It's just amazing.
There's so many things that are wrong with it, isn't there? It's just unexplainable.
Yeah. It's amazing that this was ever able to go ahead, and it got to the point of them, this actually happening. Like, I feel like somebody could have stepped in to stop it. Like, I can't believe it got to this point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's ridiculous.
What was to have happened here? And then obviously this is the outcome of it, is that we've got, oh god, like they've even got like the US medical professionals involved. The US Coast Guard were obviously involved. They're doing analysis work and everything like that from day dot of them getting a distress call. Well, not even distress calls, noises, wasn't it? I don't even think they had a radio.
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't work anyway under there because it's
not the one they would be using anyway.
Probably got like a bingo.
They'd have got one of those like those one of those you get down Argos or whatever.
24 quid two-way radio.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say. This is just everything about it was just wrong. Like there was no one above. There was just anything, but yeah, it's just everything about it just completely wrong. Just completely wrong. Like so many people, these people died from this. It's tragic, very tragic. But what's the fascination with the Titanic as well? I know there's a mysteriousness about it.
Do you know what's weird as well? They were going to go all that way down. They wouldn't really be able to see anything.
No, they wouldn't. No,
like
they'd have had to have had lights.
Yeah,
and
like what were they planning to achieve?
I don't know.
The fact they'd done it.
What was it they reckon? It was like 4 hours down, don't they, or something?
I'm not really sure.
Something like that. I mean, it's just horrific. Absolutely horrific. Make sure you chuck the names in the people that died. Yeah, we'll have to do that because that's pretty rough. But I think that's just got to wrap that bit up on OceanGate.
Yeah.
A lot came from it, memes. I did a few memes on my page, on my TikTok. I'm not apologising for those.
I wasn't as tasteless, but
I'm not apologising for those. Because it's jump on the bandwagon time, innit? So the internet came together, and a lot of piss taking was taking place, and a lot of obviously sympathetic was taking place. At the end of the day, my theory on it is, what a stupid idea.
Yes.
And I think more and more people, I don't care if you've got the money, I think more and more of you with the money need to start getting together and thinking, oh, should I go into space or should I get this checked out before I go to space?
I mean, let's face it, Richard Branson's not going to space in something he built in his garage.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
He's employing proper people. And it even says
you don't know though, do you?
Well, it even says here that OceanGate decided to forego third-party industry review and certification.
They went to.
They literally
just obligated no.
They literally decided not to get proper third party.
We will do it. We won't. We're gonna do no one. Yes. You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's like when you go and weld something. You have an X-rayer that comes around and checks your welds for your quality check. Obviously, as a professional homeowner, I love saying professional homeowner because they're the only people going to have welding equipment. But at the same time, you're not going to get an X-rayer in to check your welding on what you've done on your truck or anything. No, you should, because it's your obligation to do so. However, you could drive that around all day like that.
Pretty much.
You know. So the theory on all of this is like we've come to a conclusion of is if you're rich, wealthy, get a third party to check the equipment.
Yeah, don't be stupid.
Elon's doing it. He's got employed people that are doing it for him.
But yeah, same with Elon.
He's employed.
He's not the one. He's not
But would you trust him 100% getting on that aircraft or whatever he's made?
Or someone like Elon Musk?
Yeah.
I would, yes.
You would?
I would.
But is that because of his name? Because of who he is?
I would trust him, but at the same time, I wouldn't just give him 250 grand and get on board. I'd get someone to check
You'd
it.
question it, wouldn't
I'd ask a professional to check it out.
It's exactly it, isn't it? It's like it's obviously like when you go bungee jumping, you get written rights, don't you? You know,
of course.
1 out of like 100 people might die on this.
Yeah.
You go skydiving, they give you the rights, you know, and you waiver it off. You say, you know, I accept that I may die and fall to my death if something happens. But things can even go wrong from the minute get-go. Even stepping just into an aircraft or stepping onto the bungee platform, you know. So that's what I'm trying to get at. Even before you've even gone to space, that rocket could just fucking explode.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen videos of that before.
You know, this is it. You know, so that's what I'm trying to get at is if you accept the challenge and go for it, you go for it. But don't accept sympathy from everyone because that's what's being shown here. And then also during the week, there was a major uproar about how 700 plus migrants died on a sinking ship out in the Mediterranean and how that got no coverage and this got loads of coverage.
You know what? I've not even heard of that.
There you go then. That's just proof of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, you know, there was a lot of it talked about during the week. And my theory behind all of it is because this is something that doesn't happen daily.
Yeah, this isn't a daily occurrence.
This isn't a daily occurrence. So yeah, we're going to wrap that one up there.
Yeah.
Give us some thoughts on that, on the OceanGate. I'd like to hear about it.
I'd like to know how many people out there, if they had the 250 grand, would go on this without...
Or anything.
But would just go and do something like this.
life-changing, like, damaging event. If you have if you have the money, would you go do it?
Would you just go and do it without getting checked out?
And not getting sponsored if you've got that money.
Exactly.
Not if you get sponsored to do it, if you've got that money.
If you had that money, would you just go and do it without any questions?
Because I fucking would.
So, next up, there's been more riots in France on top of what was already going on. But this time it's because of the shooting of a 17-year-old who was stopped in traffic. Well, they would try to stop him in traffic, but he refused to comply. Mm-hmm. So they've shot him. This was in France. Not something you really expect to hear coming from a country like that. I mean, you expect this in places like America. I mean, it's a daily occurrence over there. But somewhere like France, you don't really expect it. You'll
be surprised. There's been 13 fatality shootings in France so far this year.
Is that really?
Traffic
Really?
Stops. Yeah.
I didn't know it was that prevalent over there.
13. So, of course, the gendarmerie in France are the ones who carry weapons, obviously rifles and handguns, sidearms. Yeah, pretty horrific. I mean, the French police officer shot him in the chest from the window, and everyone's saying point blank. Point blank's when you've got it.
Yeah, that's literally almost touching.
He was what would be a meter distance. The round is going to travel through that window and into the young adult. Teenager. One rented vehicle. He was driving in it, driving dangerously as well with it. Shooting him though,
I don't think you need to be shooting.
Not needed. Not needed at all.
I mean, as we know over here in this country, where there are so few guns even carried by the police. I mean, there are ways of
we have specialised units to deal with it,
but there are ways of dealing with this situation.
Yes,
other than opening fire.
Exactly. Even the president of France has said this. He said, you know, this was not conducted. Wasn't required to do this.
No.
I mean, obviously, this is the consequences of what have happened now. We've had a couple of nights now of continuous rioting. We've had 500 people arrested last night and 400 people arrested the night before. And you can get that's going to go up to the thousands now. And obviously the French boy is going to be buried today. And they are expecting to have problems at the funeral or after the funeral. You know, from other riots.
On top of this as well, have you seen? Is it the Prime Minister of France, the President of France? What is it?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
President, yeah.
But whoever's the head of France, or whatever. There's been a few photos come out of him
with Elton John.
Yeah, where his country's basically falling apart, and he's off watching Elton John.
He's watching Elton John. I mean, if he paid like 6 months in advance, I get that. But if he'd only just got the tickets,
I mean,
President of France,
I don't know. I mean, if you're in charge of the country and everything's on fire, maybe don't go watch Elton for the evening. You know, maybe don't stand there singing along while your country's on fire.
Exactly. That's pretty much like the little kid meme, isn't it? Just looking back in the house on fire.
Pretty much, yeah.
So going back to it, in the UK, we have specialised units. We have ARUs, and we have traffic officers. They will both work together as well as the normal police to stop a traffic stop. Yes, if the traffic stop, they've got drugs, weapons, or anything, then they will be left to the armed response teams, as well as the traffic officers conducting that stop.
Yeah.
And then if it's lower end crimes, they wouldn't be required. But you'll never see or hear that the armed police shot into the car.
No.
Unless that person was going to threaten their life and others.
No, of course.
And it doesn't look like the kid was carrying a weapon at all of any sort. He was just dangerous driving. You could consider that the vehicle is a weapon. You could.
You could do, yeah.
The allegation was that he went to run over the police officer. Now, there's multiple videos that have come out online that he did not drive the vehicle dangerously towards police officers.
Yeah,
and their life was not in danger. They could have stepped aside.
They could have. I mean, the general thought here is that, as it says here, he was driving this Mercedes car and he decided to drive off during the traffic check. And it's also worth noting that at 17, he's not actually old enough to have a license.
No.
So that's a little bit, why was he driving? But regardless of that, I don't think he needed to be shot. I mean, that's quite an extreme measure.
No, there are ways of stopping a vehicle,
Of course
motor
there are.
vehicle. They've got all sorts of methods. They could have even used their vehicles
Yeah, exactly.
to stop that car
Yeah.
from hurting anyone, pedestrians, or killing any other motorists on the road.
I mean, let's face it, he was probably driving off because, as it says, he wouldn't have had a license.
He's not supposed to
so
be driving.
he's probably shitting himself.
Yeah. So exactly. Adrenaline's kicked in,
I
fears
don't think
kicked in.
he's trying
Oh
to-
crap!
I don't think he's trying to ram people with his car. I
Let's
mean,
get
I
out
don't
of this.
know, but I imagine he's trying to drive off because he's worried about getting in trouble. And unfortunately, they've then taken that way too far and shot him.
A problem I don't like here seeing there in this news article is those who knew. Is it now?
Nahal?
Who was an Algerian descent. Do we need to pick up that he was an Algerian descent? No.
Interesting.
So
Do you know what's quite weird about this?
Didn't need to put that. So what they're trying to get at here is that this could have been a racial card.
Yeah, I mean, this BBC News article is kind of oddly worded as well. I mean, if you go,
Police for
BBC, you
racial
can find-
profiling. Is that what we're trying to get at here?
The weirdest thing about this whole article is they're kind of talking down about the guy quite a lot. They're talking about how he had a poor education, he never knew his dad, all this sort of stuff.
But he gave his last word, I did love you, mum, before he went to
And
work.
then at the end of this, they kind of say, but, lawyers are stressed he had no criminal record. I don't quite understand why this whole news article are kind of painting him out to be like,
no,
he's some
it's a
sort
bit of an
bad
odd
guy.
one. Bit of an odd one, isn't it? Again, it's the BBC again, chewing words.
I think because of the racial aspect, they're kind of trying to make out that he was somehow at fault without really saying it.
No, exactly. But you can even see from the photo there, the police officers leant over the car.
Yeah.
So even if the car had made off, he's leaning.
Yeah.
He's not in front of it. So
No.
the car could have made off. Personally, if I was that constable in that moment of time, he's done what he thinks is right. He has stopped the motor vehicle because he has stopped the occupant.
Yeah.
But the second attempt, he should have just done a warning shot.
Yeah, I don't
Because
know why he...
The realness of having a weapon pointed at you to some people is real. It's moment, it's happening. But to some people with an adrenaline and who've done something like this before, it says he's got no criminal record, but we don't know if this is his first offence. I don't know. You don't know what lifestyle that child's had. At the same time, if he's had a weapon pointed at him before and someone's never gone to intent to use it, the fear of a weapon pointed at you isn't as 100% as it would be with another person.
I kind of get that.
So what I'm trying to say is that perhaps the police officer should have done a warning shot into the passenger side where there is no other occupant. I don't know if there was, but it should have been made to where I'm not fucking about. Get out the car now.
Yeah.
And what the other officer wasn't doing the other side by smashing the window and trying to get him out of the motor. The problem is this was a Mercedes. So it's probably a keyless VAT car.
Maybe.
So you can't grab the keys no more. They're probably in his pocket. It's push to start. So there needs to be a way for them to demobilise this vehicle to stop this motor vehicle. They've obviously he's chose that option.
Yeah.
He has chose the option of shooting the occupant in the vehicle. I mean, not good, not right. But it looks like a motorcycle police as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's in like full gear.
He's got a helmet and everything. Looks like a motorcycle helmet.
Yeah, he does.
But this is what we're trying to get at is you don't hear it often.
No.
And look, they've already got reefs and everything.
Yeah, there's flowers up for him and everything.
And, on everything like that. But there's a lot of twisted words in this article with whether the words of the copper was in front of the vehicle, he could have been life endangered, or there's videos that showed that he wasn't.
I'm definitely seeing a little bit of
there's a lot of racial profiling.
There's a lot of racial whatever. There's a racial something going on when you actually read the article. They're kind of making him out to be a bad guy. this kid who got shot. I mean, he was 17 and he's got no criminal record. I mean, it doesn't make you a bad guy.
But then you say he's an Algerian descent.
Yeah, they're kind of.
So you've
they're trying to kind of paint the picture.
They're trying to paint the picture with you. I mean, what's an Algerian descent to you? Black?
I don't really know, to be fair.
Dark skin?
I would just, someone who's not, white.
That's
kind of what they're getting at.
Of natural skin colours for France, but there's black French people as well. There's massive communities for it, and there's Muslims as well that are French. So what are you trying to do with BBC? You're trying to racial profile it, so that the copper was a racist. He was a Nazi. So say that.
I'm not even sure if the BBC
I don't
article.
Say that, can I?
Probably not.
No,
I'm not even sure if the BBC article were trying to paint it out that the copper was, somehow racially profiling him, or if the BBC are trying to racially profile the kid to make him seem like he's a bad guy.
He was a bad guy, exactly.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, maybe it's both.
What I'm getting from it, what you've hit on head on the nail with straight away, is that he wasn't meant to be in that situation, so he made off.
Yeah,
because he's thinking, "Oh no, I'm not meant to be. Mum and Dad are going to kill me." But where are you going to go? It's too late at that point. You've been stopped. You've got no license. End the game, mate. Game over. Don't drive off. I get that, but you're not going to get away. Not in this day and age no more. Not in this day. In this country, they will go through everything with a fine comb. They will go forensics. They will go CCTV, ANPR. They'll do swabbing, fingerprints. Like I said again, but even taking that and going through the database, so you can try and drive and run away all you want. They just come to your door.
Yeah.
And even if it's not a registered motor vehicle to you, someone will dob you in.
Oh, of course.
Someone will dob you in, because when that registered vehicle comes back, they go, "Oh, it was this person who took it off of us," But he had no driving license, so how did he get in this situation of a hired vehicle?
Yeah, I mean, he's not actually.
You've got to have a driving license for the insurance.
Yeah, he's not even old enough to have the license. So that's interesting.
Has he stole the vehicle? Is that what we're not getting here? Or did his mate say have a go?
It seems like he already had the car, because I think he could have stolen the car beforehand, I'm not sure. But it seems like that day anyway, he already had the car.
Yes.
Because he obviously sort of kissed his mum goodbye, and then this was at 9 o'clock in the morning.
But it's a hired vehicle.
Yeah, so it's like...
So who's it hired from and with?
Yeah, that's the interesting part.
This is where things aren't leading up to it. But at the same time, it's caused major protests across France. They broke into a gun shop in the night. So we can expect a lot more to develop from this story.
Yeah, that's scary times.
It's scary, very scary times. Considering we've only just gotten over the riots that were, I believe, for 20 days over the protest of the retirement age being upped by 1 year.
Yeah.
So, we got France at the moment is in a major hole. The president I know he's come forward and said that it's not right, that's what's happened. I mean, that's not going to make good. But I think the police officers apologised as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think he has apologised to the family. I mean, that's not going to do anything. I mean, he's going to be fucking kept well away from the media now.
Oh, yeah, I'd imagine he will be.
And a lot of people are comparing this to George Floyd.
Yeah, I've heard a few people compare it. Probably less to said about that, the better.
I think we should leave it at that. So,
Probably. Any
comments on that at all, the France shooting? I mean, are you going to France? Is anyone going to France, do we know? Because there's a Tour de France that's coming up as well.
I'd be amazed if many people are going. I'd be surprised.
And a lot of Brits are being warned not to go there.
Yeah.
And if you do, travel light and to areas that you're comfortable, and you check your area out first. I mean, that's brilliant trip advice, that is.
Yep.
Yeah, you go into a town and I don't know, 1 minute, fucking the whole place turns loose. I mean, at the moment, just don't go to France.
Yeah, I would not recommend going to France right now.
It's not even at the top anymore for tourist destination as Spain is now.
Holiday destination.
I mean, everyone used to go there. Oh, I went to France. Oh, you went to the Eiffel Tower. No one goes there no more. No one goes there anymore. So it's dropped off the top of the tier as well for tourist destinations. So if you're going to go to France, pick somewhere else. Go Spain or I don't know.
Or
Prague.
just don't go. Just don't go.
Just stay in Britain. It's hot enough here anyway. Well, I think that concludes it for this week, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that'll do.
So you've had myself, Tom.
And me,
and
Seb.
And we hope to have another great week of news. And we'll be back with you next week.
Yeah, sounds like a plan to me.
Ciao, y'all.